Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 68. Hanging out with the amazing Kenny Kim today, the man who started MatMade. Check them out, social media, YouTube. They go out and do amazing stories on people where Brazilian Jiu Jitsu has changed their life. We get into Kenny's background, growing up rough, making some bad decisions, turning his complete life around, and doing successful things now, changing the world, not only for himself and his family, but everybody else out there that wants to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We have an amazing time this week, so everyone turn that volume up, throw those headphones on, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The show is being brought to you by Hoist IV Level Hydration. Everyone, you guys got to check this out. They're an amazing product. Chad and I drink this product, and I will tell you what, it has by far beat every sports drink I personally have ever tried. 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks. It's half the sugar of traditional. No high fructose corn syrup. No artificial preservatives, sweeteners, or dyes. It's BPA-free, kosher, made in the United States of America, and there are 6 delicious flavors. This stuff is amazing. You guys need to go out there and check it out. Limitless 10 at checkout for a discount. Check them out. Also, we want to thank our other sponsors, and we ask all you guys to go out there and thank them as well. Magic City Brewing Company, Red Tail Tattoo Company, Kandray Law, M&H Beans, Coffee Supply, Gateway Dental Care, Thomas Webb of DeHoff Realtors. Also, you guys need some fight gear, some gis, some stuff to get out there and get you on the mat? Well, you need to go out there and check out Lanky Fight Gear. Limitless 20 at checkout for a discount. Also, go out and check out the amazing products from Lashley Nutrition. They're amazing products. They can get you protein, creatine, anything you need. Plant-based, great products, great people. Check them out. Also, want to improve your jiu-jitsu? Go out and check out BJJ Foundation. Limitless 25 at checkout for a discount for all kinds of instructionals, DVDs, and great information from the amazing James Klingerman. Check them out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Hope all of you guys out there are doing good, taking care of yourself, doing what you need to do for yourself and your family, as I say each and every week. So this week, Chad and I have an amazing guest with us again, Kenny Kim. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's also the owner and lead instructor of Kenny Kim BJJ in Marietta, Georgia. He is a black belt under Eddie Camden, who is known throughout the fight world with Muay Thai, kickboxing, and a bunch of other stuff. Kenny's competed a lot in his life, started at a very young age in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I'm sure we'll end up getting into a little bit. And he also has an amazing YouTube channel called MatMade, which if none of you have ever checked it out, I very much encourage you to go out and do so. And I'm sure we'll get into that some because he kind of broke the mold a little bit on how maybe interviewing people. So Kenny, thank you so much for hanging out with Chad, and I appreciate it very much.
Fellas, man, my pleasure. Thanks for having me here today. You know, this is actually my first podcast since the pandemic. Before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of podcasts. I guess the subject was a little different. I think, starting from this podcast, we'll be talking a lot more about MatMade and its inception and how, MatMade was created and, all the stories, cool stories behind it. But, before it was about, the travels, the seminars, the competing, all the good stuff. We get my fan on real quick. So yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's so awesome too. Like when I was reading stuff in the MatMade and all that, it was a huge inspiration to me because I'm in my 40s, so I'm older like you. And when I say older, everyone out there is always like, well, you're not that old. I'm like, I know I'm not. And Chad
compared to the 20-year-old, yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. But seeing how you kind of like you changed it, like you went and got people's stories, like in-depth stories, like person to person, and that's so cool. Like it's an aspiration to do that. Like I've always had like kind of that want to do type thing too. So
I think everybody that, the crazy thing is everybody that, I've spoken with, oh my God, I wanted to do the same thing. But it's like this, it's like, anybody that starts a business venture, right? It's like, oh yeah, I had that idea too. Well,
you jump on it. Right, exactly. So good for you, man, for sure. How's it going? I'm sure the
right
pandemic.
Well, so actually, the pandemic helped. The reason it helped is because the day we shut down, the day, Georgia shut down, day Florida shut down, we all shut down. Like I was one of the first ones being shut down. We actually had everything set to go film down in Florida. I had the crew set, I had, the gym set, I had the story set, I had everything set. And then one by one, it was like, are we still doing this? I'm like, yeah, as far as I know. And then they're like, man, the restaurant, like, they're closing down. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, we can still make it work. And again, I'm talking about this had, basically no plans. It was like, hey guys, you want to do this? I had a couple of jiu-jitsu guys that were into film. They're like, yeah, let's do it. So I had this big dream and aspiration. I knew exactly what I was dreaming, but the planning really wasn't there. So we just kind of said, all right, let's do it. And then it basically fell apart. It was like, all right, well, my, sound guy doesn't want to go because, he's got a little kid. He doesn't know what's going to happen. And, so all this happened. So it kind of just went, I was like, you know what? All right. It was meant to be like, all right, it's done. And I wasn't even worried about that because now my gym is closed. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that's nothing compared to, all right, how am I going to pay bills for the next few months? I don't even know what's going to happen. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess that happening allowed me to kind of dig a little bit deeper into what this was really about and found a partner that saw the same dream and same vision and was like, okay, look, I got one episode. Let's do it together. So, for me, it was like the whole time we've been investing money. That's just, and I'll throw some numbers out, which is going to be crazy. But, the whole time, like we haven't made a dime off it. It's not to make money.
Sure.
Right now.
Right.
It's the picture is bigger. My dream is 5-10 years from now, like what this project is going to do organically for not only for myself, but for the people out there.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
But yeah, basically the pandemic kind of helped. Like it basically, had us rewrite everything and really start with, a clean slate and move forward from there.
It forced you to build the foundation, just like
sure, and
just like jiu-jitsu, kind of. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but like,
right. And I had a lot of time. For 3 months being at home, I was basically an alcoholic and being fat. Just like everybody probably. Right?
Sure, you're right.
Yeah, so it was a good time for me to reflect on what was really important. I think everybody did that. What was really important. It was
Yeah, it changed perspective for everybody. I've told people a million times, I'm like, if you didn't change what I call your blueprint from a business standpoint and just in life in general during that period in time, then you missed the whole process of everything. Did everything suck? Yes, it did. I never tell anybody it was great. It was terrible for everybody.
Sure.
But
for 2 weeks, it was great. For 2 weeks,
yeah, right.
I ordered food. I drank every day. I literally spent every day with my son. After 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, this is terrible.
Like, I gotta get
and the great thing about it is, I think people realize how important exercising your mind and body was. Yeah, and our school basically probably went up 30-40% from the pandemic. Once we came back, it was like, it was just smooth sailing. We climbed high. We're at the best right now. We're probably at our peak. I've been in business since 2006 and I'm never been better. That's
so cool. That's great too, because it's awesome to hear that people are engaging into, the combat sport or defense sport. I would say defense sport because it's not defense sport. It's not a sport in that sense of it, but more people are coming in at the end of the day. More people are coming in than maybe ever before. So we're seeing a turn of more people wanting to be engaged, find out to be healthy, if that's just what they're doing.
Right. And that plus, I think it was more of the sense of belonging, being in a community, because when you're stuck at home, listen,
it's awful.
You could have millions of dollars in your bank account. It didn't mean anything because listen, we're very social creatures, especially jiu-jitsu guys. We're always, we're literally touching, hugging,
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think people realize when they were home, they're like, okay, family is important. My health is important, but my mental health is more important than any of this. And so when this was all over and you were given permission to actually start doing physical activities again, going to the gym and whatnot, they were like, I have to go back to the gym. I'm bringing my family, I'm bringing my friends. I mean, listen, this is an investment for my family, not for myself, for my family, for my sanity, you know?
Yeah, 100%. It is too. And I think maybe more people over the last, few years or so begin to understand that more than we ever have. Obviously, more people have opened up about it. I know it was on the upcoming forefront, and I hate to say it that way, but like the mental illness and stuff like that. But I think that really projected it into, oh no, like we have a lot of problems right now because there are people they're not good because they're stuck inside. They're not doing what they need to do, and they don't have, what I always say is good people at their table, making them, get that way. So I try to look at it as a positive way too, a little bit.
Sure. Well, with any incident or situation, and that's another thing that, the Jiu Jitsu always teaches us is that, hey, you're just going to have to find a way out of it, make a positive out of it. You know what I mean? You get put in a bad position. Yeah, I'm not going to just tap. Look, I'm going to look for a way out. And if I do tap, I'm coming back. I'm doing it again. You're looking for positive ways to, get out of that position. So if I get put into a position where, okay, you can't do this, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to find a way to do something else. I think that I always say jiu-jitsu always parallels life. And, I always learn so much from the mats, and I can take off the mats and, utilize in daily life,
100%. That's the most amazing thing. Chad and I have had those type of conversations because I'm a late person that started jiu-jitsu in my 40s. And so it was like, I'm proud of it now when I go.
Well, here, to put it in perspective, Kenny, Terry had 9 classes in before we shut down for the pandemic. So to come, that would have been easy not to come back. Be like, I just start, you know what I mean? It's not
it
like
was 2 months.
I
were down for 2 months.
He hasn't really even gotten he hasn't really even dipped the toes in the water yet, right?
No, not yet. So it would have been easy to just say, it's not, I'm not coming back, but we can't let that happen either. But
And it was like, you alluded this to Kenny, and I know like the MatMade thing is like, how did being on the mat change your life or that type? But when you said earlier, like jiu-jitsu guys have like a sense of sisterhood, brotherhood, whatever, like that family. It's just weird. You can't explain it to people until they're in it. We have that cult mentality type deal. Sure. And that's what I got right away. And I was like, wow, it took 40 years of my life to find out the people that I should be around.
Well, I think jiu-jitsu just kind of brought that out of people. But if you really look, and that's why you like socially, if you look at people, race-wise, Black people will mostly interact with Black people.
Yeah, sure.
Caucasians will, like Asians. I mean, it has nothing to do with race. It's just we feel like we belong in a certain group. Correct. And so for us to find something like jiu-jitsu where, especially, I mean, you look at jiu-jitsu, all colors, whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's no damn racism in on the mats. Nobody cares. Listen, when somebody's choking the shit out of you, you're like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about that. You're like, okay, I just got to survive this, Right, exactly. And so I think that belonging, that being in that community, that is worth so much. When you have somebody, like I was thinking about this actually a couple of days ago, like for me to have a place to go to, you know how important that is? Some people they don't have a place to go.
They have it, right?
Home, work. And then even if they go to the gym, it's just like, okay, you can lift some weights, but you don't have that bond or that community, right? So I was just thinking, I was driving to my gym. I was like, man, for me to have a place to go to, when I walk in there, I say hello, they say hello, hugs and, fist bumps. Man, how we doing? Like, how's your family? We're training. I mean, sweating together, like being able to be at a place where they welcome you and want you, man, that's priceless. You know what I mean? Like that's what I think people, that's why jiu-jitsu gyms are exploding everywhere. Most gyms that are, legit. And I'm not talking about legit like the instructor's a world champion or he's a great black belt. I'm talking about the culture, that atmosphere,
run set, it, which that's your thing, Chad.
Yeah. That's what I said it many times on this podcast is I want you to walk in and feel a good atmosphere before you even be like, oh, they're good at jujitsu too. You know, I want you to feel comfortable and welcomed. And that's, again, we could say it till we're blue in the face. That's the best thing about jujitsu. You know, Kenny, we've never met, but we had, you know, if we ever met, we would slap hands and try to choke each other within 5 minutes, you know, like,
afterwards we can go grab a beer, you know?
Right.
That's how it is.
Very priceless, like you said.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Right.
Have you always seen that too, Kenny? Like in your experience? And I've asked Chad this, and we have, you know, he's got a lot more history, obviously, in jiu-jitsu than I have. He's 17 years. He's my coach. So, yeah. But in your experience too, like you've always saw that. Like that was that kind of a beginning thing too? Like when you started it, because you guys started when it was old school, man. In my opinion.
Back in the days, it was a little different. So it was kill or be killed kind of mentality back then.
Sure.
Yeah. The truth. I mean, so jiu-jitsu basically was like, it weaved the weak out. But if you were weak and you stuck with it, it made you the killer. It made you the strong guy.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, back then, of course, there was a sense of family belonging, but everybody wanted to get better at this because they knew this was like, this is the hottest drug out there. Everybody wants their hands on it. Like, I want to do this because, I mean, come on, think about it. When Gracie went out there and just kicked everybody's ass in one night, who doesn't? What dominant, you know, alpha male doesn't want that?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Oh, yeah, 100%.
It happened. A couple of things happened. Some people tried it and they're like, they made an excuse. They said, oh, no, that would never happen. And boom, walk the other way. And there's people like us that said, oh, everything that I learned till this day means nothing to me. I need to do this.
Yeah, I need to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think that's what happened back then. It was like, and then every training session, it was like first day of class, boom, you're rolling. There was no, you know, you got to have 30 classes or you got to be a blue belt or, oh, yeah. Just slow roll over here. You're going to, no, they threw you to the lions. Like literally we had mad enforcers. Like I became one later when I was like a purple belt. Eddie used to look at me and be like, oh, yeah. So-and-so's here. Hey, just go easy with him. Like that was the time. Like it was his first day. That means, hey, choke him until he's like sleeping. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you know, we live in a different time.
Sure.
You know, we want to grow jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? And so, you know, it can't happen right now, but yeah, that was the time. I mean, I'm sure similar for Chad. I mean, like,
I got heel hooked my first class. You know,
back then it wasn't. You can't heel hook in a
no. But no you know, I've said like nobody told like now, like you said, we take care of our new people. Hey, if something hurts, tap, do that. Nobody told me even what it was to tap or to say anything. I was like, oh, my leg hurts. Stop it.
Yeah.
Like,
what are you doing to me?
What are you doing? You know, and coming from a karate background, and I didn't wrestle. It was so foreign to me. But again, watching those first UFCs, it was like, man, all these karate guys that I looked up to are getting their butts kicked. We got to figure this out, find it, you know? So,
yeah, back then when we did no gi, and I always still make fun of some of my guys and even, you know, the mainstream guys. Oh, no gi. I'm like, you know what? No gi was in my day. And I sound like an old guy saying this. They're like, oh, shut up. I'm like, our no gi was, okay, take your gi tops off. We're bare chested. Throw some slaps on your face and you better learn how to cover up. And then that was our no gi. There wasn't these colorful spats and like rash guards. And I mean,
ridiculous style.
Yeah. I remember going into no-gi class and we'd be doing wall drills or clinch stuff. You know,
that's no-gi was like this. No-gi was basically jiu-jitsu with strikes and like basically for MMA Valetudo.
Yeah.
It wasn't even MMA back then. It was basically Valetudo, right? So,
sure.
We're gonna do some no-gi Valetudo. So how to clinch, how to get to, you know, pin somebody against the wall, how to get out of that. You know, I mean, it was combination of that. We just throw some slaps. You know, you got to make sure you're covering. Like, so in a way, I feel like we lost some of that, and I feel like you know, it's what made jiu-jitsu, but in a way it has not bringing those aspects into the game kind of propelled us, I think, forward in populating jiu-jitsu too. You know what I'm saying? Like, because majority of people are not going to stand there and get slapped in the face training.
Right.
And I think one of the reasons like people are choosing jiu-jitsu over a lot of other martial arts is not only the effectiveness of it, but you're not getting punched in the face or kicked in the face every day.
For sure.
So it's very safe to train per se now.
Sure.
Back then,
Versus when you guys were training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It was a little bit different, you know? And I kind of missed that, but I can understand why that wouldn't work right now, especially with
business model wise. Yeah.
Yeah. Business model. You've always said that, Chad. You're like, you can't be hitting people.
I mean, it's
right.
Yeah, it's a little different. But like Kenny said, you miss some of that, you know?
Sure. I imagine. And you guys are, you know, and I hate to throw that term. It's like, you're like the old school guys to me, even being older. I did, you know, other martial arts and I never did jujitsu until I was later. It was something I was like, who really are you? You know, like that's who I asked myself. Like, I was like, all right, let's go. Like, and then I just fell in love with it instantly. At first class, like I was like, yep, I'm in. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, there's no taking me away from this now.
I was telling a story with Eddie. My first class, you know, I've been a martial artist all my life, right? Since I was 3 years old, I Taekwondo, and I did Muay Thai, I did box. I did everything. I mean, I was just very athletic, and I was a fighter my entire life, street fights and whatever. So my roommate takes me over to the jiu-jitsu school. I think I was like 20 years old. First class. I mean, like 3 or 4 guys just kicked my ass like all over the mat. I mean, I'm talking about like just wipe the mat. I'm tapping. And of course, each time I was like, I wasn't ready. No. Try it like this. You know, like it was one of those. And finally, after class, I sat down with Eddie. And back then, he called it the Purple Belt program. And I signed up, I kid you not, for 6 years, 6-year program. I signed a contract for 6 years. I was like, yeah, let's do it. Because he said, listen, it's going to take you about minimum 6 years to get to a purple belt. He's like, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get your purple belt in 6 years. Because I was like, how long do I have to train to be decent at this? He was like, at least a purple belt. I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So 6 years became 10, you know, it just.
Yeah.
It just perpetuates. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you got, and I always ask everybody this, when you got that black belt, was that like the moment when you're like, all right, this is a new platform to learn again, to not that you would never stop learning in your journey. You just, you know what I mean?
When I first got it, it was like, because again, when we came up, it was like seeing a purple belt as an instructor was rare. Seeing a brown belt was almost none. Seeing a black belt was like seeing a unicorn, right? So there wasn't much around. Like here in Atlanta, there was 2 schools. One was my instructor, Eddie, and the other one was Alliance headquarters with Jacare. So either you trained at this school or you trained that school. That was it.
Have and a lot of options, yeah.
No, I mean, we had 2. And so it, like most everybody that's from here, they rooted from those 2 schools.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
So if you see older guys that trained jiu-jitsu 20 some odd years ago, they all rooted from there because there was no other jiu-jitsu but them. So when I first got my black belt, actually Hoist Gracie was the guest instructor and he actually tied the belt around.
Oh, awesome, man. Very cool.
Which was a big honor. But no, when I first got it, you know, it was like, man, I spent all these years, man, I finally got to my black belt. I feel like I know everything. I'm the guy, you know, like but it was probably another year or 2 before I realized like, oh my God, I'm like a novice at this. Like I'm you know, I'm like a baby crawling, you know? So I tell my students that right now, but that's when my eyes opened. I'm like, wow, like you talk about being humble. Most guys back then, we weren't humble. We were like,
sure.
I mean, it was like somebody comes in, they want to fight. They were like, oh, we want to test this out. They're like, all right, come on, let's go. And you know, we're ready to fight. Like there was no, you know, we talk about respect. I mean, it
didn't really exist at that point.
It was chaos. It was just like, man, come on, let's do this. Literally, we're dragging guys out of the gym, like challenge matches. Oh, let's see if this stuff works. Boom, boom, boom. Drag the guys out. And then later on, they become students. Like that was lovely. I mean, you'll like all old school guys will tell you stories like that. But it wasn't maybe a couple of years later, I realized, man, like that's when I became humble. Like, oh, okay, this is what black belt is about. It wasn't about learning new techniques. It was about mindset. It was about how to represent yourself. It was just so much more than just knowing some techniques. and even techniques. I think I tell people all the time, I'm like, I learned more as a black belt than I've ever learned getting to black belt for. I mean, I've been a black belt longer than it took me to get to black belt, but
sure.
Like, at black belt, I learn every single day. And I don't mind learning from a blue belt or a white belt. I mean, anybody can be your teacher.
Sure. Yeah, that, and it's awesome because that's the mentality. And I'm always curious, being where I am, and I'm older, so maybe someday I'll get there, and I hope to. I won't quit. I mean, it'll be something that keeps me from doing it versus me going, no, I'm out. You know what I mean? But
sure.
I think it's super interesting to hear that, because I've heard that a lot, like not from everybody, but when you reach that, what we call the pinnacle peak, it's really just the beginning of a new mountain that you're going to start climbing. But your attitude changes about what you've done. And Chad, you've alluded to this before.
Yeah. For me, it was confidence. So it took me 14 years to get my black belt. We had some affiliation changes, and I was a brown belt for 6 years. So it took me a little longer, but I think I was a brown belt for so long, I started getting a little bummed out, right? Like I didn't have an in-house black belt. I was the instructor. I've been the instructor since I was a 2-stripe white belt. So, I didn't have an in-house black belt a lot to help me. So, but when I got my black belt finally from James Klingerman, he's out of Indiana, awesome instructor. I think it made me have that confidence. Like, I do deserve this. I have worked for this. And then it just opened my mind to everything else, if that makes sense. You know?
Oh yeah. Again, just the beginning, just the first steps.
Did you have a passion to teach before that, before you went in, before you became a black belt?
Me?
Kenny? Yeah, sorry.
Well, so I've been in martial arts all my life. So even as a high school student, I was teaching Taekwondo. I was at
so you were, okay.
I was in the junior national team. I was competing high level in that sport too. So I never really had a job. I've been on the mat, I kid you not, since I was 3 years old. That's the only thing I've done in my life. This is the only thing I've done. And so I actually opened up my first so I taught Taekwondo and I taught kickboxing. I opened up my first school when I was 20 years old.
Wow. Dude,
I basically worked construction, saved some money. I already knew what I wanted to do. You asked me when I was 14 years old, what do you want to be? I said, this is what I'm going to do. I already said that.
So it was way before the black belt thing. You were like, no, I'm going to teach. I'm going to own a school. I'm going to, You knew this. Yeah, that's
right.
Awesome.
That was my career path. And when I opened, as soon as I opened, that's when I got introduced to jiu-jitsu too. And so as I was training, it was I was an instructor teaching another art, but I stand up, but I was also training jiu-jitsu at the same time. And then I think a few years later, by the time I was a blue belt, I asked my instructor, I said, can you send somebody over to start teaching at my school? Obviously, I wasn't going to teach at blue belt. Unlike some, organizations out there, I wasn't going to do that. So, when I had my instructor right there, so he sent, I think it was a purple or brown belt that was teaching at my school.
Oh, nice.
So we basically had our stand-up program, and then we had our jiu-jitsu program. And so I would still go to my professor and train there, and then I would have my instructor that comes to our school, so I would train there too. And then eventually, when I got my purple belt, I started filling in some classes, and I think at brown belt or so, I think I started teaching full time just jiu-jitsu. And then about 10 years ago, after I got my black belt, I think 3 or 4 years after I got my black belt, I got rid of all. We had boxing, we had a boxing ring in there, we had coaches. I got rid of all that. And then I started teaching just jiu-jitsu because I just feel like, not that other martial arts didn't give you any benefits, but for your bang for your buck was jiu-jitsu. You can train jiu-jitsu for 6 months. I know that you can be, you're not going to be beating people up, but you're going to be aware of your space. You're going to be aware of your, distance. And so I just thought and it was a big move for me because I always had a successful school, but at that point, I think I lost close to 150 stand-up students.
Because you got rid of all the equipment, so they were out.
Yeah, I just said I'm not doing it anymore.
So they were, okay.
So basically saying 150 people like, hey, look, I'm not teaching this anymore. So imagine how much money that was.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, brother.
Yeah. And so, but for me, again, I always try to follow my heart. And at the time, my heart wasn't in it anymore. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
And my guys were like mediocre at everything because they would train one day at jiu-jitsu, one day in boxing, one day in kickboxing. You know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't something that I was. So, I made a harsh decision and went with it. It was scary at the time because I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent next month because I just lost 150 people.
Right.
That's a lot of money. And, but, slowly we build it back up. And, in Atlanta, like I mean, there's a lot of legit people here, world champions to MMA guys, to UFC.
Sure.
I mean, like Atlanta's a hub for jiu-jitsu, and there's so many great guys here. But within that community, like I've established my name as like one of the OG guys. And so, I think I did the right thing at the time.
Yeah. And it's, I would tell you, Kenny, like the proof is already in front of you, what you see now, the benefits, like it's flourished. Look where you're at now. Like there is no what if, it's like we're not what if in this, we're going forward. Like you're already there. Sure. May have things been different, but in your own heart, you got to follow that and do what that best decision is for you and your family. And then I would tell you, look at you now, man. Like that's gone, that's past, we can't change it, but you're still succeeding going forward and giving people great success in their life. And it's proved by people coming in the door, where you said, earlier in the show, attendance is up. A lot of people are coming through the door. They want to be taught here. They like this school, so that's, and it, I'm sure, the hubs, like, of bigger city areas, I will say, that have a lot of schools. It's important to have that, like what you've already explained, good atmosphere and stuff to get people in the door. And then, then you can show them, hey, I can teach you in 6 months to, and obviously keep you going, but,
Yeah. So my goal now is this, like, I actually was, I like in the mornings, I'm always out of my back porch. I do like a 30-minute, no phone, no TV, no nothing when I wake up, and I just have coffee and I sit in my backyard and my porch and kind of, I manifest and I kind of give thanks to all the things that I have. And that's how I kind of start my morning. But I was just thinking about, like my days of like competing, my days of, not that I'm not going to anymore, but I'm kind of recovering from a knee injury right now. I was
going to ask you if you were going to compete. Go ahead, keep going, Kenny.
Yeah. But like my days of that, my days as a leader, yes, as a business owner, but like I thought about it, like right now, I want to be the best ambassador for jiu-jitsu. I want to spread the positivity that jiu-jitsu brings to people. And I want to be able to share that. That's my next goal. That is my next big project. Like they don't have to come to me. That's why MatMade was born. It wasn't about, I want all the students. No, I tell people, if you're on the mat at the right place, that's what I want. I want to put people into the gyms all over the world. Like I want to let people know what this can do for you and your family. Like, so I want to become the best ambassador out there, like the Joe Rogans out there. People are like, oh yeah, Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. That's why, I have some students that, I listen to this podcast, so that's why I'm here.
Sure.
I want to be the guy that pushes jiu-jitsu to the next level, to the mainstream. That's actually what it is, to mainstream, because it's still actually, it's out there, but it's still very subculture-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
People really don't know what jiu-jitsu is. They're like, I know. I kind of heard about jiu-jitsu. Yeah, UFC and this and that, but they really don't know jiu-jitsu. So they only see maybe the competition side. Oh, this guy's a world champion, or this kid is a phenom, and great. But how about like the story I just did, a 73-year-old grandma that, has osteoporosis, but not anymore.
Yeah, I just watched that today. Yeah, that's great. It was awesome.
You see what I mean? Thank you. So those are the stories, the real stories that I want to bring like to the front. You know what I mean? Mainstream.
Yep.
I mean, we've already had some of the bigger like guys like, hey, look, I want to pitch it to Netflix. This is going to Netflix. This is like, that's the next step. Like we're going to bring this like where people can just turn the TVs on their phone. Boom, you see it.
you're going to find you, maybe the bigger term, but I'm saying like, you want to change the world to make people understand that there is stuff out there that can help you that you would never think of instead of doing something else or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Jiu-Jitsu is awesome.
And it was not only like, yes, Jiu-Jitsu, but not only Jiu-Jitsu, but I want people to know, look, I was a early high school dropout. I mean, I went back and got my degree, my diploma, but gangs, guns, jail, you talk about, I did all the bad things that,
Sure.
And I want people to know, of course, mine is MatMade. I was made on the mats. Like, that's my story, and my story basically, I want my story and everybody else's story to kind of inspire other people. But I want people to know, I want the next generation of kids coming up that are on the streets, that are, gang banging, that are whatever they're doing, to see stuff like this. Man, if this guy can do it, I can too.
Yeah,
whether it's on the basketball court, whether it's on the mats, whether it's, I don't know what it is, like,
for sure.
If I can do it, I'm like, seriously, like, we hear that all the time. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm like, yeah, if I can do it. I feel like I'm dumb as a rock, man. I'm like, man, I'm not a smart guy, like, I just kept on, like, I didn't ask questions. I just did it. You know what I mean? Like, just literally use my head to do it.
Right. But you're not stupid. Kenny, you're not stupid. I know you're just saying it literally. Not literally.
But so that's the thing I want to teach the next generation. Like, and so going back to MatMade is like, I wrote a book during the pandemic. So MatMade has been on my mind even before that. But during the pandemic, I basically had a mentor. He was like, man, write a book. I was like, who the hell am I to write a book? Who's going to read my book? He was like, all these guys, they're nobodies. Like, they became somebody because they did something.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. So I started to write the book, and and of course, during the pandemic, we didn't really have anything to do. So it took me a few weeks, got it done, got it published. And man, and it was like, and then the messages I got from people like, oh my God, this book is great. Thanks for writing this. Thanks for sharing your story. And it's basically my life story, how I grew up and how I got into the martial arts and the troubles that I went through and how I found the mats found me and where I am now. Right. And then that story is now even bigger because of the dream of MatMade has gotten bigger. It is basically on the mainstream. Like, we are producing these, high quality, episodes and videos and short stories. And so, that's basically what I want to do. I want to inspire. Jiu-Jitsu, great. If it's not Jiu-Jitsu, even better. Like, do something.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think and I love it, because I always tell people all the time and I'm like, you should be doing that. Like, Kenny, you should be doing that. Like, because we need more people to do that, to change the young culture of thinking and the mental stuff. Because if they can see and understand that people that have fought through it, what I tell people all the time, I walked through hell. Like, I walked, my kids know I have 3 kids, and they don't say that, but they're like, yeah, Dad walked through rough parts, man. He grew up really, really rough. Thank God I have an amazing wife in my life, and he's a great woman and that kind of stuff. But I have a lot of bad things that happened to me, and a lot of bad things I did when I was younger. So I think it's more important. It's so important to have people like that have changed, and they know it, and they've seen it, broke all those chains of their life, and they just start telling people. You know what I mean? Sure. So I love it, man. Like, when I saw the MatMade stuff, I was like, yeah, that's changed the world, brother. Changed the world.
It was scary because, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but so we met with some different producers and filmmakers, and I was like, okay, I'll just borrow some money a little bit. Won't make a few $1,000. Maybe we can make an episode. The first quote we got, I kid you not, was $85,000 for one episode.
And you were like,
I was like, I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it's well, especially the way we wanted to do it. It wasn't. I remember our first episode. My good buddy Dean Thomas, UFC commentator, ex-fighter, he was with me in Nashville. We show up to a restaurant and they were like, I thought you guys were filming a YouTube show. We're like, we are. But we had 4 camera guys, sound guy with the boom, our director. We had, I mean, it was, we had like anywhere from 8 to 10 man crew. Yeah. And that's how we still roll, right? And so they didn't expect that. But anyway, so we started to look a little bit more, and we really found guys that we wanted to work with. And even now, I mean, it's it's anywhere from 30 to 50 grand an episode. It's the first time publicly I'm telling people this, but it's 30 to 50 grand per episode.
Wow. So you doing some, you got like somewhere where people can like help out and like.
So in the beginning, that's why I said it was scary. So in the beginning, my partner, who I pitched this to, I mean, that wasn't really even a pitch. It was like, man, I have this, I've had this dream. I was going to do it. It didn't go well. And And he said, tell me a little bit more about it. So over lunch, we're talking about it. He was like, man, this is something big. And right now it's got actually bigger. It's not just a show, but so he goes, let me think about it. He says, all right, I got 1 episode with you. I said, okay, that's all we need, 1 episode. And you're going to be a believer. So we put our money in, I put money in, he puts money in, we get a crew together. Where are we going? We're going to Nashville. All right. So we set everything out, we do it. And we had a blast. I mean, it was great. And then of course, the show comes out, the trailer comes out, show comes out. I mean, it was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, because I mean, like the production side, I don't know anything about production side, so it was all the redo this, do this, voiceovers to B-rolls to like, there's so much stuff. It was a lot. And then it was just kind of like a pause. It was like, hey, well, what are we doing? We don't have like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So he said, all right, I got 1 more episode. That's it. Like, I really can't. I got 1 more episode. Okay. So we put more money in. So we do 1 more episode. And by then we start to figure things out. We're like, okay, so where do we want to take this? So now we've got people like, doing what they do. Like, okay, you do this, you do this. So, and then we slowly start getting calls and like, hey, maybe we want to work with you guys. But like right now it's a numbers game. Like if
Sure.
somebody comes up to me, as a fresh black belt comes up to me and says, I could MatMade sponsor us. I'm like, okay, well, what do you got to give us? So everybody tells us like, hey, give me your deck. And then if the black belt says, yeah, I just got my black belt, I don't really have any accomplishment yet, but I'm going to be big. Like, what can I do I don't know. Like, I always think, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know what? I could give you a t-shirt or something, man. Like that's what I would probably say too. So I understand what these big companies, so we've been pitching a lot of companies.
Sure.
About like partnerships and collaborations. And we've got a couple that's in the works already.
Awesome, man.
And we're actually purchasing a big Sprinter van, and it's going to get wrapped with MatMade, and that thing's going all over the world. So that's another story, but
nice.
That's coming.
Awesome, man.
I'll be at Worlds in September. I've got one of my guys coming out there, just single guy. We're not doing a full episode, but we're doing all the short stories, all the world champions I'll be out there filming. So,
that's awesome.
We're doing that. We've got, MatMade actually is a registered trademark, and the production side is basically our platform. So not only do I want to inspire the students and the jiu-jitsu guys and the guys that I want, for them to be successful in life, I'm inspiring. I want to help school owners too. So MatMade, basically, it's matmade.com. Pretty soon when you go, we already have over 4,000 jiu-jitsu schools listed.
Wow.
So it's called findyourmat.com, which takes you back to MatMade. And within that site, you can basically, school owners can go in there, upload their own stories.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow. School. Wow. Okay.
Their credentials, their own MatMade stories. And if they want us to do it, we can come out, actually do a story, our full production team. And then within that, we have a website, like my website is being rebuilt right now. So that website is a beta site that we're going to be able to help school owners, because I have the best IT guys in that business building it right now. As soon as it comes out, school owners are going to be able to see it. And I do a lot of business consultations too. I'm actually going down to Sarasota, Florida next week to do a consultation for old acquaintance of mine that was living here but is in Florida now, opened up a school. So I'm helping him open up. But we basically, MatMade is basically becoming a franchise. We're going to give you like a Chick-fil-A. Boom, here it is. Run your school.
Nice.
We do all the work. We'll tell you what to do. You do what you're good at. Teach. I mean, how simple does it get?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to run the business. We run the business for you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So this, I mean, I know you alluded to it a little bit, Kenny, like kind of a dream. Like I know, figuratively speaking, like say, hey, this was a dream of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is deep, brother. Like you have all, like this idea is huge in terms of like to be where you are now. Was there something like in your life that it just kind of like always kind of projected you to say, you know what, that's kind of something I want to do? Or was it just something that came to you still? Like,
in the back of my mind, I always felt like, I never thought I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be great.
Yeah,
but
sure.
the mind that I had was this. I was always mediocre at everything that I did. Right. So I was never terrible at anything. Like even in sports, I was basically mediocre. Like I can play soccer, I can play ping pong, I can throw some basketball, I can wrestle. I like even my jiu-jitsu. I feel like, I don't want to put myself down low, but I mean, I feel like my jiu-jitsu is good, but I'm not the top 1% tier, right? So I was always mediocre, but I knew I knew there was something that I could be good at. And again, after my black belt, after training for a long time, after inspiring people, after getting all these supportive messages about, hey, you made me realize I had a dream. You made me realize, like, after all that, I realized what my calling was. My calling, again, it's to help people. Like, that's me. Like, I want my personality. I want my looks. I want whatever it is that I can do in my own power. I want to bring not only jiu-jitsu, but I want to be able to help people succeed in life.
Yeah.
Right.
100%, dude. Yeah.
So school owners, students, mom and dads, like MatMade show it's a kid-friendly show, because I'm like, man, I don't want to be cursing on there, because I want the mom and dads to be sitting with their children, watch the show together. Right.
Sure.
And not have to be like, oh, you can't watch this part, or close your ears, or whatnot. Yeah. Like, it's all about that family vibe. So yeah, I think that's, my calling is that. Like, I love working with people. And I want everybody to become so successful. And the people who know me know, like, I come from nothing. I'm like, dude, I've literally, like in my book, it says the first part will tell you, when I first opened up my school, I slept at the school. I didn't have a car. I ate one meal a day, which was just a big bowl of rice from the Chinese restaurant next door. It was $1. So $1, I would eat half for lunch and half for dinner, with soy sauce, nothing else, for three months.
Yeah, you couldn't have picked a better name for what it is.
Literally,
like that's given to you, man. Like that was downloaded in you, and like, bam.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I've had countless nights where I literally was, sitting in the corner like this, crying, because I was too proud to ask for any help to anybody.
For sure.
Right. But I knew this was so hard, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. But no, of course. I mean, especially at 20 years old, it just didn't work. It just didn't work out. I mean, I know 20-year-olds now that could probably do way better than I did. Right. But I want to be their coach. You see what I mean? I want to be like, look, don't do what I did. Like, I want to be the model for them to look at and say, oh, okay, let's not screw up like this guy did. Yeah. Let's listen to him so I can
navigate from that path of going down that wrong path. Like, and it's important. Like I said earlier, man, it's important to have people like that. Like, even just for me, like even having someone like Chad in my life now has changed dramatically over the period of time that I've been at the gym, you know, for what, 2.5 years now, almost 2.5 years. And it's huge. Like just to give people, you know, and people listen to the show and whatnot, like just a little bit of that, just to say, yeah, like I'm 45 years old and a guy that was 2 years older than me that I befriended. And he's like a brother to me amongst many other people. But just having those conversations with him, it was just like, oh yeah, like I grew up this way or did whatever. And I would doubt myself. I probably have more confidence now than I ever have before jiu-jitsu has helped. And the people at the gym, being around, meeting people like you, starting this podcast, you know, just to having fun conversations, talking to people from all walks of life. And it was like, oh yeah, okay, all that stuff, not that I've been past that forever, like all that stuff happened to me, whatever, but it still was like, oh, that's cool, because I broke every one of those chains and my kids will never see those chains. And I want to make sure other people, when I see like knucklehead stuff, I'm like, don't do that, like trust me, I know, like don't do that, because you're gonna get in trouble.
Oh yeah. You know, I tell people, I'm like, hey, look, I've been down that road. I don't want to go down that road, and I don't want you to go down that road. So I can't tell you to do this, but just look at me, you know. And my close friends even know, like people I've went to school with since elementary school, know like where I come from to where I am now. And I said, look, if I can do it, you can do it. This is just a stepping stone for us to, you know, better ourselves. And again, I want to be that guy to inspire others to get out of their comfort zone and just do it. Like,
for sure,
you know,
definitely,
you know, it's and I think jiu-jitsu has changed me or molded me into this person that I can be confident enough not to doubt myself. Because, you know, of course, when you're younger, you doubt yourself, you're insecure. Even as a man, you know, like you go out there, put a front, you're flexing, you're sizing people up, but inside, man, I was still very insecure. Like I was a little boy insecure, you know, like I felt like I wasn't a man until I was in my late 30s or even my early 40s, you know, like, of course, at that time, you're like, man, I'm the baddest man out there. You know, I know everything, but man, I didn't know shit. I was a little boy. I felt like I wasn't even mature. Like I just feel like just now, I realized like this is what being a man is.
Sure, right. Yeah.
You know?
I have those. I've done it many times. I still do it to this day, you know, from people that have told me when I was younger, like, oh, don't do this. And I know, or whatever, you know, I'm like, you don't know nothing, old man, or whatever. And now I sit and go, you're such an idiot. Like you didn't listen, like, and you learned, and I'm okay. And I'm blessed to be where I am, and that's fine. And, you know, but it is funny. Like, I do think that I'm like, I do want to be one of those guys that tell people, don't do this, don't do that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, just if you can change one person, man, that's what I say. If you can change one person, that person becomes another, you know, like it's like one of those domino effects.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Just sending that positivity, you know.
Were you going to say something, Chad?
No, I was just going to, you know, we talked at the beginning and Kenny said, like, everybody's got this idea you had, right? And that's how Terry and I started the podcast. We were just like, hey, we should do this. Hey, we should do this. And then one day I get some Amazon stuff and Terry sent me a microphone and headset. Hey, we're doing the podcast, you know? So if any, just do it, man. Just start small and just do it.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's go ahead.
Cool. We're almost 70 episodes in 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
you guys do one every week, every week?
We try to.
We just got back from vacation. So being summertime, families, you know, we took a lot of July off. So we're back at it now.
I try to get some lined up in the bank if we, you know, but there's, you know, we get cancels and people fall through and that stuff. So
life happens, you know.
Overall, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good.
Well, it seems like you guys are pretty successful with this. No, it's not hard, but it's fun. But again, you guys are doing the same thing that I'm doing. Like you guys are spreading positivity. You guys are bringing light to, you know, these, jiu-jitsu guys and talking about their life. You know, and some of these guys, like even the competitors, they come from nothing. You know, and that's the story that I'm getting. Like the MatMade stories that I'm getting, I get a lot of submissions. They're like, hey, I'm like, well, first of all, like I don't handle all the, you know, social accounts. I'm like, well, you guys need to email our team, but you know, like, oh man, you guys should come here because this guy is a world champion. He's this is this. I'm like, well, great. But for us, it's not, well, me personally, my story, the stories that I'm chasing isn't always the biggest, the baddest names. It's the nobodies.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's the nobodies that I'm chasing, like the Nashville, like Heather, the girl who was, basically, physically abused. Like those are the stories that are more important. That's what sheds light, not, the 15-time black belt world champion. Not that I wouldn't do a story with them,
Right.
if the circumstances
Sure, exactly.
and
the
timing is right. But the story is like I want like everybody to be able to see like, oh, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the typical jiu-jitsu guy like, oh, the 15-time world champion. No, that's never gonna be you.
Yeah.
But that other guy over there, the veteran that served, in Iraq, yeah, that's me. How many veterans are out there? The guy who was a police officer, you know what I mean? The girl who went through that, and all these now we're creating all these short stories, like a minute short stories that just go on like reels on
like
Instagram
reels,
and stuff. And they've actually done amazing. I mean, like we've got probably 30 in the bank already that's being edited as we speak. And these stories are crazy. I mean, like 2 weekends ago, we were in Columbia, South Carolina, and one lady basically just came out and said, yeah, my 13-year-old, like somebody broke into my house and murdered my 13-year-old kid.
Sheesh.
It's crazy. Like,
and she just started crying. And this is in front of the camera. It's not easy to capture that. And then she basically said, jiu-jitsu saved my life over and over and over. So when someone I'm getting goosebumps just by talking about this, but imagine somebody watching that short story, just a minute, but they can resonate with, oh my God, I had this kind of tragedy in my life and this is what she did to overcome it. Maybe it's not jiu-jitsu, but maybe it's something else, but they know that there is an outlet. They know they can get better.
Definitely 100%. And it helps them people maybe seek out like message. Like I love social media and stuff being used because, a lot of times it's not in this way. As light as I can possibly put it, social media isn't used to what I personally think it should be used for. Like this. I think it should be used for a lot of things, but this is a prime example of the positivity that we have or that we want. And like someone else, like you said, kind of you can see it and they might be like, man, I need to message and say good for you or whatever it is. Like I feel it in my heart. I got to tell them some words, or can we talk? Like I just need someone to talk to. You know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, like that's just a big deal. That's huge. And
absolutely,
jiu-jitsu does change lives. Like it does, man.
We're a testament. I'm a testament to what jiu-jitsu has done and what jiu-jitsu will do. And,
for sure.
All the good stuff.
Yeah. I do. I'm going to change the subject here because I got to know, when did the ink love start?
That takes me back. You got some ink, huh?
Oh yeah. Chad and I both my arms are done all the way. I'm all the way up to here. So my chest.
So my first tattoo. I'll tell you a crazy story. So I was 14. I was a freshman in high school. Okay. So one of my friends, his older brother, was a drug dealer.
Okay.
You already know it's going to be a good story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's inevitable.
he basically was giving this guy, whatever drugs. So he was like the middleman. He was the guy. My friend's brother was the guy up here.
Yeah.
And the middleman was selling the drug. He owned a tattoo shop. And basically just, smoked or used up all the drugs, didn't have the money to give to the guy he got the drugs from. So my buddy's brother basically just said, leave me the keys to the shop and to the Cadillac and we're good. So the guy just left everything and dipped out. So my buddy's brother now had a tattoo shop.
Wow.
And then, so my buddy and his few other friends had a rap group. They actually had a CD or a tape. So in the back of the tattoo shop, they set up a little studio, and they were rapping and whatever. And in front of the tattoo shop, it was just, it really wasn't open for business at the time. And the friend's brother looked at me and said, you want a tattoo? I was like, hell yeah, I want a tattoo. I was 14.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. And so I get like these two little letters, you know, like this is a cover up, by the way. So he puts a stencil, boom, and it was probably like an inch tall, maybe. And so, yeah, that's how I got my first tattoo. I was 14. And, you know, man, I thought I was the coolest guy out there. It was like January here in Atlanta, like 20 degrees outside. I'm in a wife beater walking around school like, hey, you see my tattoo?
I got a tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's
then
awesome.
my second one, I actually walked in. I was working at a flea market and guy was set up giving tattoos at a flea market. I was like, how much? It was like $30. I was like, yeah, slap one right here for me. And so that was my second one, which of course is covered up again. And then I think after that, it was like, by the time I was 18, I had like 18 or 19, I probably had quarter sleeves.
Oh,
okay. I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to go any further than that. I don't want people to see it, or, you know, whatever the reason. And then it was just this, like, you know, kids nowadays are like, yeah, I got this full sleeve that I'm going to get. It's already laid out. Literally mine's like a little piece here, a little piece here, a little piece here. Like, you know, they just had, like, luckily I had a great artist that was able to patch it together and just make it seamless and fluid. But yeah, it slowly started creeping down. I was like, I'm never going to get tattoos on my neck. And then next thing you know, never going to get on my chest, never going to get it on my back, never going to get it on my legs. And, you know, it just became, you know, one of those that I don't, it actually kind of defines me now. Like I don't know. It's kind of weird. I couldn't see myself without it now, you know, and some people may see me differently, but like it's made me who I am. These tattoos actually made me who I am. Like it's given me an identity, per se.
Sure. Yeah, no.
You know
and it does. And I think people who love tattoo, love the art of it and love the art being put on them. That's what it becomes more of. It's like, this is part of my identity. Like people that know me, they're like, I'm not surprised, Terry, that you got tattoos like more and whatever you've done. And recently over the last 6 months, I stretched off the wrist and went to the hand. And we talked about it on the show before, and Chad gave me a hard time about it, like jokingly, you know, but people were like, oh, you can get your neck tattooed now because you got your hand tattooed, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But I was like,
that's what happened. That's what happened.
I had one of my bosses at work asked me that. He goes, so you getting your neck tattooed? And I was like, no, man, I'm not going to get it. He's like, all right, we'll see. I was like, well, thank God I've been here for 20 years. So because that's
what guys used to say to me. I'm like, no. And then, you know, it just kind of, you know, happened. So now I'm at a point. It's just like, man, well, you know, I'm 45 years old. I mean, nothing's going to change right now. Like just because I don't get one tattoo or, you know, like nothing's going to change. You know?
That's how I looked at it. I was like, because some of them, I mean, they're obviously this one's newer and stuff. And then I did get are you going through a midlife crisis? I was like, well, I could be out doing a lot of really, really bad stuff, or I could just go down to see our boy Jason and get a tattoo.
Yeah.
My wife's like, okay, go get a tattoo.
I remember getting my hands done, and my artist was like, so you're getting the job stoppers, huh? That's what he calls it, the job stoppers. I was like, yeah, well, I said, you know what? I've been in business by myself for a long time. And I don't think I'm ever going to be working for anybody. So and if they don't like it, then they don't like it.
Right. And that's kind of what's my attitude. I was like, look, if that's what they're going to judge it on and not by who I really am, then I don't want to be there anyway. Like, I only want to be around people that are going to be like, who are you on the inside? Like, I get you like out here, but you know, I'm friends with you. Like if I saw you, it's like, hey, Kenny, what's going on, brother? Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't care about all that other stuff. Like I already know that, you know, so which has changed. I mean, obviously when we were younger, cause I got called out when I was young. I had this dragon was just the only thing on this forearm. And I had guys like asking me questions about war and like, how many people did I kill? And they were older guys. And I was just like, why? It was at a gas station once. And then he was like, why would you put that on you if you didn't do it? I was like, holy crap, I don't even know what's happening right now. I was like 20 years old. Yeah.
People get kind of weird too. Some people love it. Like, I mean, I get a lot of compliments but you know, I do get those stupid questions like, oh, where did you get it? I'm like, would you know if I told you? Like, like how long did it take? And I'm just like, wow.
Did it
I
hurt?
don't go around. Yeah, I'm like, I don't go around asking you personal questions. I'm like, and especially like if I don't know you, like,
Sure, right.
I don't walk up to you and be like, dude, what kind of beard, conditioner do you use? Like your beard looks so good. Thank you.
People actually do that to me.
Well, I'm sure they do.
It's weird.
Yeah. Well, that's the same thing with tattoos,
Yeah.
Who did it? And oh man, like I'm like, what does that mean? I'm like, that old saying. It means I look good naked, man.
Thank you, Kenny. I might steal that now and start using that, because I was at the grocery store yesterday and just someone walked by and they're like, man, nice sleeves. Where'd you get those done? And I was like, at a tattoo parlor up the road. It just kept going. And I was like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm getting groceries and like, I don't know that it's going to matter that I tell you anyway, because you didn't look like the guy didn't look like he had any tattoos at all. Not saying he did or not, but
I know some guys are just trying to be nice, but sometimes it's just like, like it's. I've actually used this too. They're like, oh, I like your tattoos. I'm like, yeah, they're fake, man. They're just temporary. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, you can get it on Amazon. I'm like, take care, man. I just walk away. They're like, really? Like, it's not. Just like mess with people because I don't want to get deep into it because
right.
But that's what my instructor Eddie used to call time vampires. Like they just don't realize the importance of your time, and you're just like, okay, I gotta go.
Sure.
Like I would love to sit and chat with you, but gotta go.
For sure. Yeah, definitely, man. Well, we kept you over an hour, brother. Speaking of time,
I'm good. Like
I always joke, I'm like, it took an hour of your life away.
I love having conversations like this, man, because again, you guys are all about, spreading this positivity, spreading stories of how these people made it. You know what I mean? And so, and while we're talking about the love of jiu-jitsu and of course like tattoos, we're all inked out. So. It's a great conversation, man. I mean, I really appreciate you guys having me on here on your platform. I was able to talk a little bit about, again, MatMade, even though it has been a big dream of mine to be successful with MatMade and, spread the stories. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned, it's all about, that positive mindset. It's like giving people, something to look up to, giving people a way like, hey, I could be that person right there. They don't have to be on the show, but they can be anonymous. But when they watch the show, when you hear about MatMade, they know exactly what it's all about, and they know the reasoning behind it too. And hopefully, we can have some bigger, sponsors and collaborations, and people that bigger companies that want to work with us, because if they know the vision and what we're trying to accomplish, I think they'll be on board, because it's merely bigger than just storytelling. It's bigger than just a production. It's bigger than a reality TV on YouTube. It's something that's life-changing. There's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of even for companies, lucrative ways to get their names out there too, while we're doing good stuff.
Sure.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
In the right way. You know what I mean? And when I say the right way, not just what you're doing, Kenny, and what your team is doing, but companies. Like, hey, companies out there, you want to get in, you want to always attach yourself to the positive way of doing things and the right way to do things. And let's give back and let's pay it forward. And that's just like, look, man, we get one life and you all belong here. I tell people all the time, like, you all belong here, man. But you have to decide to go forward and go look at this kind of stuff. Like, go look at what.
Kenny, and so people are like, oh man, like, oh, MatMade, you guys. I'm like, listen, if you knew how much money I had tied in there, people would literally crap their pants. Like, oh, I wouldn't do that. You know why I did it? Because I like, as I mentioned, I'm not looking to even make money back at this time. Like, this thing could have gone 2 episodes. It could have been done. That would have been it. Like, okay, we did it. But I did it because I truly believe that this was going to be impactful and change people's lives. And like right now, with all the overwhelming messages and DMs and phone calls and emails that we're getting from not only from the submissions of people like wanting to tell their story, but the school owners it's now I know I'm on the right path. Like, okay, we're doing this because of the right reasons. They say, just like in jiu-jitsu, like you do it for the love of it, money will follow.
Yeah, for sure.
You chase the money.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Tell people it's all the time, man. Stop chasing the wrong things. I know it's hard and it's easier said than done, but if you want something to be real and longevity and have longevity in it in your life, you want legacy stuff. We want to talk about legacy, then stop trying to get that dollar and start doing other things, because the dollar will always follow, you know?
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know, and what is it to say like this? Look at it this way. Money can always be returned. Time cannot.
Yep. I mean, it's and I guess that's another thing, you know, when people work so hard, it's not really about money. It's about having the freedom to do what you want to do because you have something, you know what I mean? So, but for us, I know for me, and I'm pretty sure even for you guys, like I'm already doing that. Like I'm already doing what I love and making money. Like,
right.
Like, even if I was just paying the bills, I'll still love it, because it's like, who goes to work and puts on a gi? I got literally, this is the way I go to work. I got Havaiana flip-flops on, I got shorts on, this is the way I go. I'm like, what's up, guys? I go put on my gi or I put on my rash cut, and then I train and I teach, and then I hang out with the guys, go out and have some beer afterwards, drink. And like, man, what kind of job? Like, that's my job.
Sure.
So even if I wasn't making a lot of money, I'd still be happy.
Yeah. And
you know, but I think that's why.
Right. And that's what you have to do. That's what we have to teach younger generation, which I think some young generation, maybe they're not learning it maybe the right way. My opinion, only everybody out there. But my grandfather used to tell me all the time, man, he was like, if you wake up and you're not happy to go to the job, but you're going there because that paycheck is so good, then you're doing it for all the wrong reasons, you know? So he was like, get up. If you're happy every day and the paycheck's good, awesome. But if it's just amount to get you by and you're happy, then that's what you should be doing. Chad, actually, you have a great story, because you would have never ran the gym.
No, I mean, it's probably not, you know, I don't own the gym that I manage the gym day to day. I teach all the jiu-jitsu. Somebody else owns it. It's a family gym. The owner passed away about 7 years ago, stage 4 cancer, very, very good friend of mine. So I have this big tattoo for him right here. But his wife still owns it, and she lives in South Carolina. She's very involved. But I worked in warehouses my whole life, you know, driving forklift. And, you know, there came a time where when Mr. Hyman was still alive that owned the gym, he asked me if I wanted to run it. And I said, yes. You know, it's not the most money I've ever made, but it's the happiest I've ever been. I haven't gotten up to an alarm clock in 10 years. That's amazing right there. But like you said, even if you weren't making money, this is what you want to do. You get up and you're wearing a tank top to work and putting on some pajamas and rolling around with some dudes, you know? It's right. You can't get much better than that.
No, you really can't. And I see people in jiu-jitsu, when you're at the gym, you'll see, you got people coming in. Of course, I mean, they have their nice cars, this is beautiful, but man, like they are strapped on time. They're stressed, this and that. When you see that, like, and then like to know that, like, oh man, I don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going through, because I'm not going through that. Like I'm literally, like today we had an open mat. I had open mat because I didn't have anything else to do. Seriously, like I got everything else done. I was like, we're going to have open mat. And my son was over there, and we filmed a little video with my son. We were just playing. He was all over me. Like we were just playing and just sitting against the wall and talking with the guys. I was at the gym for like 3-4 hours. And then I go out and have some lunch with my son. Like, that's my Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody has that.
Yeah, not everyone has that. Yeah. And it's, I mean, what you have. You know what I mean? Like, what you have. You know how blessed that is to be in that position. That's a big deal. And it's like trying to get other people to understand that for them, that they can do that too. Like they can do
yes. That's why MatMade is it's there. Like I want to inspire, like, hey, you guys, look, you can do a lot more than what you're doing right now. You can be a better, the best version of yourself, through whatever problems you're at. Because everybody has problems.
Oh yeah. Everybody. Yep.
Everybody's going through something, whether they tell you or not. Like, but one of these stories, they're going to resonate. They're going to be like, that's is me.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether it's drugs, whether it's whatever it may be, like they're going to know it's going to be them. And hopefully that one story inspired them to be better. That's not done my job. Like that's what, I'm here for. Again, I just want to be the best ambassador out there for kids, men, women, whoever out there to be better, you know?
Yeah. So
Kenny, why don't you do this? Tell everyone how to get to you. And it's always in the show notes. I put everything in the show notes. That way they can click on, they can find you. Anything you want to promote, tell, whatever I have I'll put in the show notes. So you get after it, my man. Tell them.
Yeah. So listen, personally, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at kennykimbjj. KennyKimbjj. So KennyKimbjj. Same thing. TikTok for MatMade. It's just MatMade Show. On YouTube, MatMade. Make sure you guys subscribe. And then on Instagram, MatMade_show. That is our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube handles. You just look it up. You can just Google it, actually. You go to matmade.com. You'll be able to find all our social handles on there too. All our videos are there. On Instagram, you'll see all the short stories. You can share your stories through our website. There's a submission on the bottom. If you're a school owner and you want us to come visit your school and get a story, make sure you guys fill out the form. If you're a student or someone that has a story to tell, there's a form that you can fill out at the bottom of the website that kind of just runs you through, and then our team will see it. And depending on what city that we're going to, we'll be there. Oh, next, one more thing. In November, I will be at the Gracie Adventure Camp down in Playa del Carmen, Mexico.
Oh,
right?
nice.
It's a 5-day camp held by the GOAT, Padre Gracie, Holes Gracie, Igor Gracie, Gregor Gracie, and Hillian Gracie. Nice. So those guys are going to be there. I'm one of the guest instructors, and I think there's like 2 or 3 other guest instructors there. And also, I'm going to be doing an episode on the Gracie family while I'm there. So
nice.
That's going to be the season 2 first episode. So that's coming soon. So that's in November. So those of you guys that are interested, go check out gracieadventurecamp.com. You can register. I mean, you're going to be training with, without these guys, we wouldn't have a job. We wouldn't be talking about this.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
So check it out. Gracie Adventure Camp. I was there about 10, 11 years ago. Had the best time of my life. You're going to make connections. It's just, you're going to have a great time, spending it on the mat, off the mat, at the beach. Everything is, all inclusive. So all the drinks are on me.
November. Sweet. That'll all be in there. Yep. I'll put it in there, for sure.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Out there. Well, Kenny, thanks so much, man, for taking the time. It's an honor for us, man, to sit down and talk to amazing people, doing this podcast thing, and this is really what we wanted to do from the get-go, just being able to have great conversations, like you said earlier, with great people that are, changing the world, and, talk about jiu-jitsu at the same time. I love talking about the life stuff and all that. It's great, man. So thank you.
I appreciate it. No, seriously, this is, anytime I can get out there and tell my story, even if it's not the MatMade story, just my story.
Sure.
Getting the tattoos, me being a, whatever little kid to who I am now, is if somebody listens to this or sees this on YouTube, and if we can change, man, or even change the perception of, who they are, I think we've done our job. So, man, I applaud you guys for, having the show. I hope you guys the best. And anytime you guys want me back, please, anytime, I would love to. Sure. And then for futures, we can try to collaborate on some different stuff too.
Right on, cool. For sure. Yeah. Anything we can do to help anything, we have the same mindset, all 3 of us, in terms of what we want to do and order and age. And
you guys are in Ohio, or?
Yeah, we're in Canton, Ohio. You know where the NFL Hall of Fame is? It's central Ohio, right in the middle of it, kind of northeast Ohio.
Yeah. Okay, well, cool. I would, and there's another thing we could do. I would love to come out and maybe visit you guys. So if you guys ever want me out there, just let me know.
Okay, right on.
And, we'll get out there and probably get some short stories and do some training and have a good time.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, be awesome for sure.
Oh, I don't know if you guys know, one more thing. I don't know if you guys follow a group called Warrior Poet Society. Are you guys?
Warrior Poet Society. So I do. I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
So I actually just have a new show coming out from Warrior Poet Society called Disarmed and Dangerous.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
It's
basically, season 1 is already filmed and it's in editing right now. It's basically basic jiu-jitsu skills, but, for like brand new beginners, so it's basically like street clothes, how to get, like what we talked about earlier, how to get into clinch positions, how to block strikes. And then season 2 is already getting planned out. And this week, John Lovell, the head guy.
He's the head guy of it. Yeah.
We've already filmed one segment, but he's actually coming on Wednesday. We're doing another segment on Wednesday that's going to be featured on his YouTube channel too. So those of you we've actually got MatMade on there too. And we've gotten great response on their paywall. So those of you that are interested, Warrior Poet Society Network, download their app. It's like $10 a month. You get access. There's so many good stuff in there. Like not only the hand-to-hand stuff, but like they have how to shoot pistols.
A lot of firearm stuff. Great technique in all kinds of aspects in the firearm world. And hey, if not I'll promote it in terms of saying, hey, if they got some awesome gear, because I like their gear. They actually have some their own custom firearms as well. Like he has, like I follow them on both socials. So I'm always seeing everything that they post.
Yeah.
So.
You'll probably see something soon because they've got one commercial. We got a couple different commercials that we shot, but one is about to drop here in the next few days. So you'll be able to see it.
That would be so cool to see you on there. Because I followed him ever since they made that transition to do the TV and do the more show. Like it was kind of like he almost storybooked it as he was going through. It was kind of like all social, and then hey, I'm going to do this. And I knew he was highly involved in military and had a ton of friends, and obviously great background, great surroundings for him, for John. So that's awesome. Yeah, that's very cool.
So I think we're going to do a couple of different seasons with him already. So that's cool. That's in the books too. So again, another way to get jiu-jitsu out there to people.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everything helps. Every little bit helps to get it out on any platform that you can. So for people to get eyes on it, and say, I mean, look at ADCC this year. There's probably going to be 20, 40,000 people in there, maybe the biggest ever. So, but awesome. All right, Kenny. Well, thank you so much, man. You have a great night and keep us posted anything, man. Appreciate you so much, dude.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you guys soon. Okay. Thanks for having me on again.
All right,
thanks,
man.
brother.
Have a good night. All right.
Later.